You woke up this morning, right? Chose what to wear, decided what to eat for breakfast, scrolled through your phone because you wanted to, or did you? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Right now, as you're watching this, there are at least 10 invisible systems controlling your decisions, shaping your thoughts, and steering your behavior, and you never permitted them to do it. I'm not talking about some conspiracy theory. I'm talking about real, documented systems, psychological, technological, economic, that have been carefully designed and deployed to influence what you think, what you buy, and even who you become. And the wildest part, they work best when you don't even know they exist. So today, we're pulling back the curtain. We're going to expose 10 hidden systems running your life right now. Some will shock you, some will make you angry, and by the end, you'll never look at your choices the same way again. You think you're in complete control of your life, right? Every choice, every click, every purchase, that's all you. But what if I told you that most of your decisions aren't really yours? What if I told you there are invisible forces all around you, subtly guiding your hand, shaping your thoughts, and designing your reality, all without you ever noticing? Today we're pulling back the curtain on the 3 biggest invisible forces that secretly run your life. Let's start with the one that's staring you right in the face, the algorithm. Right now, you're watching this video. But why this one? Out of the millions of videos uploaded today, why are you here? You probably think you chose it. You saw the title, it looked interesting, and you clicked your decision, right? Well, not exactly. The algorithm chose you just as much as you chose this video. YouTube's recommendation system analyzed thousands of data points about you, your watch history, how long you stay on videos, what you click on, what you skip, even the way you scroll. It predicted, with terrifying accuracy, that you would click on this exact video at this exact moment. And here's where it gets much deeper. The algorithm doesn't just predict what you like, it actively shapes what you like. The super sugary kids cereals. Those are placed at a kid's eye level, so your 7-year-old can easily grab them and beg you to buy them. And the healthier, more affordable options. Yet those are usually on the bottom shelf, where you're not going to notice them unless you're actively searching. The layout of your grocery store, the design of your office, even the order of items on a restaurant menu, all of it is carefully arranged to nudge you toward making specific choices without you ever realizing you're being guided. Here is a famous example. When the UK government wanted to increase the number of organ donors, they didn't run expensive ads or guilt trip campaigns. They just changed one simple thing, the default setting. Instead of making people opt in to become an organ donor on their driver's license forms, they made organ donation the default and let people opt out if they really wanted to. The result, organ donation rates skyrocketed. The only thing that changed was the default setting, and that's the genius of choice architecture. It doesn't force you to do anything. It just makes certain choices easier, more obvious, and more automatic. You still feel completely in control, but the architect who designed that choice, they're pulling strings you don't even know exist. Now for the third force, and it might be the most powerful of all. Here's a quick question for you. Have you ever walked past 2 restaurants, one that's packed with people, and one that's completely empty, and you automatically chose the busy one? Of course you have. We all do it. But why? You don't know any of those people. You have no idea if they have good taste in food. For all you know, every single person in there could be having a terrible meal. But your brain makes an instant calculation. Lots of people are here, so it must be good. This is called social proof, and it's one of the most powerful invisible forces shaping all of human behavior. We are obsessed with following the crowd. It's a survival instinct that's hardwired into us from our evolutionary past. Back when being part of the group meant survival, and being cast out meant certain death. The algorithm, choice architecture, and social proof. They're not necessarily good or bad, they're just tools. And like any tool, they can be used to help us or to manipulate us. Knowing they exist is the first step to taking back control. So the next time you click, choose, or believe something, just pause for a second and ask yourself, is this really my decision? The answer might surprise you. Let's talk about something that sounds boring but secretly runs your life: your phone settings. When you got your phone, it came with default apps, default permissions, default everything. And if you're like most people, you probably never changed them. Why? Because defaults are powerful. There's a principle in psychology called the default effect. It means we're far more likely to stick with a preset option than to make an active choice, even when changing it would be better for us. This isn't just laziness, it's your brain being efficient. It has to make thousands of decisions every day, so it takes shortcuts. One of the biggest shortcuts is thinking, if this is the default, it's probably fine. Tech companies know this. It's why your social media profiles used to default to public. It's why apps ask for access to your contacts, your location, and your photos, with yes as the default. They know most of us won't bother digging through settings to turn things off. But it goes beyond tech. Your retirement plan at work probably has default investment options. Your subscriptions default to auto-renew. Your browser defaults to tracking you. The people who design these defaults aren't neutral. They choose what benefits them, betting that you won't make the effort to change it. And most of the time, they're right. Okay, now picture this. You're at a slot machine. You pull the lever. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But you never know when that win is coming, so you keep pulling. That's a variable reward system, and it's one of the most addictive designs ever discovered. Here's the catch. You are surrounded by slot machines. They just don't look like them. Every time you refresh your email, you're pulling that lever. Maybe there's an important message, or maybe there's nothing. You don't know, so you keep checking. Every time you open Instagram, you're pulling the lever. Maybe someone liked your post. Maybe you got a new follower. Maybe there's something fascinating in your feed. You don't know, so you keep scrolling. This isn't an accident. Tech companies literally studied casinos and gambling addiction, then built those same psychological hooks into their apps. They want you checking constantly, because every check is another chance to show you an ad. The real genius of variable rewards is that they're more powerful than consistent rewards. If you got a notification every single time you opened an app, you'd get bored. But the possibility of getting a notification that keeps you hooked. Your brain releases a hit of dopamine not when you get the reward, but in anticipation of it. So even right now, part of your brain is probably wondering, did I get a text? Did someone comment on my post? Should I check? That's not you being weak. That's a multi-billion-dollar system running in the background of your mind. Let's do a quick experiment. Imagine you're shopping for a laptop. In the first scenario, you see one priced at $2,000, then you see another one for $1,200. In the second scenario, you walk into the same store, but the first laptop you see is $800, then you see one for $1,200. Now, does that $1,200 laptop feel like the same deal in both scenarios? It's the exact same laptop, but it doesn't feel the same, does it? In the first scenario, $1,200 feels like a bargain compared to $2,000. In the second, it feels expensive compared to $800. This is called anchoring bias. The very first number you see anchors your perception of value, and every other number is judged relative to that anchor. Retailers use this ruthlessly. That original price you see crossed out next to the sale price, that's an anchor. That super expensive luxury item at the front of the store that nobody buys. That's an anchor, designed to make everything else seem more affordable. But it's not just about shopping. Anchoring affects salary negotiations, real estate prices, and even how you judge your own. If a friend tells you they make $200,000 a year, your $80,000 salary might suddenly feel inadequate, even if it's perfectly good for your field. The first number you hear becomes the reference point for everything that follows. And whoever controls that first number, they control your perception of reality. Pop quiz for you. What's your favorite song right now? I'm willing to bet it's a song you've heard multiple times, not just once, and probably not 100 times either. It's likely somewhere in that sweet spot where it feels familiar, but it hasn't become annoying yet. Well, that's the mere exposure effect in action. It's a super simple but powerful idea. The more you're exposed to something, the more you tend to like it. This is one of the most reliable and proven findings in all of psychology. Advertisers have known about this for decades. They don't always need to create a complex argument to convince you that their product is the best. Sometimes, they just need to make sure you see it over and over and over again. Eventually, your brain starts to mistake that familiarity for trustworthiness and preference. Think about that brand of soda or shampoo you just prefer for no real reason. You've probably seen their ads 1,000 times before you ever made your first purchase. This effect goes way beyond shopping. Those political views you hold so strongly, you've likely heard them repeated so many times from different sources that they just feel right to you now. But here's the really scary part. The mere exposure effect works even when you're fully aware that it's happening. Studies have shown that even when people are explicitly told they are being manipulated by repeated exposure to something, they still end up liking that thing more. Your conscious logical mind might know better, but your unconscious mind doesn't really care. It just likes what's familiar. This is a fundamental reason why propaganda is so effective. It's why misinformation can spread like wildfire. It's why you can't get that annoying jingle out of your head. Repetition doesn't just make things memorable. In a way, it makes them feel true in your mind. In our modern world of infinite media, the person or organization who can repeat their message the most often wins. Okay, let's switch gears to another powerful psychological quirk. Imagine I offer you two choices. For choice A, I just give you $50. No strings attached. It's yours to keep. For choice B, I give you $100. But there's a 50/50th chance you'll have to give $50 back. Now, mathematically, both choices have the same expected value. You end up with $50. But if you're like most people, you'll probably pick choice A. Why is that? Because the pain of losing $50 feels much worse than the pleasure of gaining $50 feels good. This is a cognitive bias called loss aversion, and it's quietly running your life. Psychologists have actually found that, on average, losses feel about twice as painful as equivalent gains feel pleasurable. This probably had a real survival advantage for our ancestors. Avoiding a threat was way more important than finding an extra piece of fruit. But in our modern world, this instinct often makes us behave irrationally. And of course, companies exploit this constantly. Think about the marketing messages you see every day. Don't miss out. Limited time offer. Only 2 left in stock. They aren't focusing on what you'll gain by buying their product. They're highlighting what you stand to lose if you don't act now. And it works like a charm. We will work harder to avoid losing $10 than we will to earn $10. We else stay in bad jobs or relationships because the idea of leaving feels like a loss. We'll hold on to terrible investments, refusing to sell, because that would mean locking in the loss. Your fear of loss is a much stronger motivator than your desire for gain. And believe me, every marketer, politician, and manipulator on the planet knows it. Remember that super embarrassing thing you did last week? That awkward moment in the meeting, or that weird thing you said to your friend, yet you remember it vividly. You've probably replayed it in your mind a dozen times. Well, here's the good news. Nobody else remembers it. Or if they do, they don't care nearly as much as you think they do. This is called the spotlight effect. We massively overestimate how much other people notice and remember our behavior. We think we're on stage, in the spotlight, with everyone watching our every move. But we're not. Everyone else is too busy worrying about their own spotlight to pay any attention to yours. Now, why does this matter? Because this invisible system controls so many of your decisions. You don't speak up in meetings because you think everyone will judge you. You don't wear what you really want to because you think people will stare. You don't pursue your dreams because you think everyone will watch you fail. But the truth is, people aren't watching, they're not judging, they barely even notice. You're not the main character in everyone else's story. You're a background extra. And realizing this, it's incredibly freeing. It means you can stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention. Okay, last one, and it's a big one. Present bias. Right now, you know you should be doing things differently. You should be exercising more, saving more money, eating healthier, and learning new skills. You know this, and you genuinely intend to do it. Starting tomorrow, this is present bias, our tendency to prioritize immediate rewards over future benefits, even when we know the future benefits are bigger. Your future self would be so grateful if you started that project today, but your present self really wants to watch Netflix. Your future self would love to be debt-free, but your present self wants to buy that thing right now. This isn't a character flaw, it's how our brains are wired. For most of human history, the future was uncertain. You might not survive the winter, so it made sense to prioritize today. But in the modern world, where the future is relatively predictable, present bias is sabotaging us. Credit cards exploit it. Fast food exploits it. Social media exploits it. They all offer you something now in exchange for costs you'll pay later. And every system on this list knows it. They're all designed to offer you immediate gratification, that dopamine hit from a notification, that relief from social proof, that pleasure from a variable reward, while the costs accumulate invisibly in the background. So let's zoom out for a second. You've just learned about 10 systems that are shaping your decisions every single day. The algorithm curates your reality. Choice architecture nudges your behavior. Social proof is making you follow the crowd. Default settings you never questioned are making choices for you. Variable rewards keep you addicted. Anchoring bias warps your perception of value. Mere exposure makes you trust the familiar. Loss aversion is driving your fear. The spotlight effect silences your voice. And present bias is keeping you stuck. Here's the thing, none of these systems is evil in itself. They're just tools. The problem is, most of the time someone else is using these tools on you without your knowledge or consent. But now you know, and knowledge is the first step to freedom. You can't eliminate these systems, they're built into how your brain works, but you can become aware of them. You can notice when they're influencing you. You can pause and ask yourself, is this decision really mine, or am I being nudged? Change your defaults. Question your anchors. Recognize when you're being fed variable rewards. Step back from the crowd and think for yourself. And most importantly, start acting like your future self is watching, because they are, and they'll either thank you or resent you for the choices you're making right now. The systems will always be there. They're not going anywhere, but once you see them, you can choose whether to be controlled by them or to work around them. So here's my question for you. Now that you know these systems exist, what's the one area of your life where you're going to take back control? Think about it, and then do something about it. If this video made you see the world a little differently, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that pulls back the curtain on how the world really works. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these systems surprised you the most. Thanks for watching. And remember, you're more in control than you think, but only if you're paying attention. I'll see you in the next one.